What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another week of Hero or Zero here on the Heroes for Hire podcast. My name is Sean Meehan, and joining me, as always, is living duckman Conor Lawler.
I love bread, but also, does it make me sick? Not quite sure.
So peas and corn you should give to ducks, actually, if anyone's asking.
How did you come up with living duck, man?
I'll be honest, I blacked out for a second, and that's what came to mind.
Real good improv, bro. So this is Hero Zero. This is the show where we choose one comic book character every single week. We talk their good points and their bad points, and we generally just give you a bit of a rundown of everything to do with that character. So I normally talk DC characters, and Shaun, he normally talks Marvel characters, but like in a worse way. So it's his report this week, so forgive us, but we just kind of have to listen to Marvel characters. This is all made up. They're all the same. It's not a real rivalry. Promise.
It's all fabricated for the sake of the show. So, Conor, this is my week. Last week you covered a Flash villain who, mixed reviews, I would say.
I would say 5 stars. I've seen 5 stars all over the place.
Out of 100.
Speaking of 5 stars, Sean, people can rate us on Spotify and they can give us 5 stars.
Or
maybe not for the Fiddler episode. There's been other episodes that are much better than that one. But yeah, if you want to give us a review or a like, a share, a follow on any of the podcast platforms, that would really help us out. If it's your first episode, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do anything. Second or above, we'd really appreciate some support. We also have Patreon down below. We recently reviewed Irish Wish, which our patrons made us review because they hate us. Sean, it is now you have the floor, please.
Thank you very much, Conor, and I would like everyone to get on board and give me a third chance at this character.
I know who it is already.
So, we talked about this a little bit in the main show back on Monday, but I've tried to cover Kraven the Hunter a number of times on the show. Each time we've done it, some intervening force has made me either tired or busy or rushed to where I'm not happy with how that report turned out, and I really like Kraven as a character.
And this comes up because they are releasing the Kraven the Hunter movie this year. Sony are releasing it. Sony, who have made Madam Web, Morbius, Venom.
Name another movie, please.
El Muerto was lined up, but then that got cancelled. Kraven, Aaron Taylor-Johnson is playing him. He's a Spider-Man villain. He hunts humans for sport. Just a real nice guy. So he has an anti-villain movie coming out where he's kind of the hero and kind of not. Don't ask why. They're just bringing it out. So what they decided to do was they looked at the Spider-Man Rogue Gallery and they went, who's the least human one? Let's do a movie on him where he's maybe sympathetic a little bit. So Shaun didn't like that idea, has been ragging on it for a long time, but many years ago, we did a report on Kraven the Hunter long before Sony were talking about this movie, and Shaun was like, I love this character, he's a great villain for Spider-Man, yada yada yada. We did the report at 10 o'clock at night, if you don't know, and I had come back from sports training, and Shaun
full of endorphins.
Shaun was a sleepy boy, and it's one of our most famous reports between the two of us, in that we've now deleted the episode, but it was just so funny because I'm like riding high. It sounds like Shaun has taken a lot of drugs to like sleeping pills, and I have taken so much cocaine that I'm just like talking. And Shaun
and I'm giving like, nothing as the host.
Sean's like, Kraven the Hunter is a nice man. He does this. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely.
But today, we're both at equal energy levels. I'm
going to give you nothing.
Oh, well then I'll do it the next time as well. But first appearing in Amazing Spider-Man number 15 in May of 1964, Conor, Sergei Kravenov was born and raised in Russia in the early 20th century. He was born into aristocracy. However, in 1917, the Russian Revolution happened and the Soviet Union began to rise. His father poured his entire fortune into one big escape, purchasing Kravenov Estate in New York City. So he moved the entire family over to the States. However, as time went on, Kraven's dad got real depressed. He missed his homeland, but he could never return because communism.
Because murders. Cool.
And then, so his father was depressed, his mother descended into madness, and Kraven just essentially raised himself along with his illegitimate brother, who went on to become the Chameleon. Now, eventually, once he reached adulthood, Kraven moved to Kenya, and he discovered his exceptional aptitude for hunting, Connor. This is such a simple origin because he just moves to Kenya and figures out he's real good at hunting.
Just immediately somebody hands him a rifle and he's like, holy shit, this is super easy.
Oh my god, I'm unreal at this.
I can kill a fucking hippo from 5 miles away.
And he can. And he does. He kills animals so well that he gets really, really bored at it.
He literally kills all of the animals. There's no more animals within like a 10-mile span.
Yeah, and he stops using guns. He's like, I'm just going to kill him with my bare hands. Like, he just wants... He just feels... The only way he feels stuff is from killing, basically.
You haven't lived until you've seen a man kill a giraffe with their bare hands. It's just... It's so to behold.
It's true, and you haven't lived until... Sorry, I can do this. Until you've seen a man kill a bear with his giraffe hands. There we go.
There was something there.
Look, it's a flat pack joke. You can put it together. So he eventually met a African wizard. With the aid of a serum, he acquired the strength, agility, and acute senses of a jungle predator.
You can't just throw in he met an African wizard as if like, yeah, that's cool.
Connor, first appearing in May of 1964.
Oh yeah, they just 100%. He's literally in Kenya, and then you turn the page, and just an African wizard is just there, and probably said in a really racist way.
Hey, look, he got a serum.
They basically Captain America him.
Pretty much, yeah. He's actually above Captain America in terms of what he can do.
Cool.
So he also got an extended lifespan, ensuring his health and vitality for many years to follow. At some point, the notion of big game hunting began to bore the hunter. So his associate, his half-brother the Chameleon, proposed to Kraven that he hunt Spider-Man, and this gave Kraven a new purpose in life. However, when Kraven tried to hunt Spider-Man a number of times over the years, but he continually underestimated the superhero's resourcefulness. So Spider-Man would always just think his way out of a Kraven fight. It never came down to strength.
And I think what's lost in all this is that he got bored of hunting animals. So somebody said, why don't you hunt, like in Marvel, one of the hardest people to kill that exists.
Yeah, one of the heaviest hitters in Marvel Comics.
Like, I don't. People are always like, "Oh, Spider-Man's like a kid." Spider-Man is unkillable, really. Like he's 100% unkillable 99% of the time. If that makes sense.
Yeah, in a straight fight, you're not killing Spider-Man. Like,
you need to get him when he's not aware in any way, but even then his spidey sense might kick in, so you need to be that quick that it counteracts it.
Yeah, like I think one of the recent times he died, he had poisoned himself with radiation to weaken himself. Like, there's so many variables that have to happen for you to be able to just kill Spider-Man.
Yeah. And so Kraven's now like he didn't even start with any other humans. He's gone straight to the top dog. Just be like, here we go. And
what he does the Bane thing of he just sends a load of Spider-Man's villains at him to try and tire him out. But Spider-Man just keeps outthinking him. He's just like, oh, well, I'll just do this and this. Like, here's Kraven's weakness. I'll just exploit that. Like,
and what is Kraven's weakness? I suppose his willingness or like his need to kill.
His need to kill. His arrogance is a lot of it, that he thinks he's the best hunter, so he thinks he can't be trapped.
Right, okay.
So Spider-Man will just like, he'll play along with Kraven's game, but he set up like web traps ages ago because he knew this is where it was all going to take place. And
like stories like that are like classic Spider-Man of like you think the kid is out of his depth, he's finally reached his match, and you're like, oh wait, no, this is why we like him, he's like a genius. Exactly, yeah. That's why he's cool, is that he's just he's clever. I'm glossing over a lot of the early Kraven stuff because it is just man shows up with a gun and tries to kill Spider-Man. Is what a lot of that is. A lot of it is the comic book starts and Kraven's like on a rooftop looking down on Spider-Man. Is like, I'll get you this time, Spider-Man. This is my last chance. Oh yeah, big old yellow panels explaining. You're goddamn right.
But the main Kraven story that people would know is Kraven's Last Hunt. That's one of the Spider-Man stories that's ever been told. So as time passed, Kraven's aggravation, combined with his inability to run the superhero down, destroyed Kraven's sanity. Some time ago, he faced Deadpool, who was in possession of the Venom symbiote at the time, and he confused Deadpool with Spider-Man. When Kraven realised that, oh, this isn't Spider-Man that I'm fighting here, Venom gained control over Deadpool's body and suggested, Kraven, just use a gun if you want to kill Spider-Man, because he had been going at him with hands and like knives and shit like that.
Oh yeah, you're never going to take him out hands and knives.
Exactly. So driven by the idea, he hatched a scheme that actually defeated Spider-Man and seemingly and uncharacteristically shot him with a rifle from a distance.
You know what? You got to respect it. Like, sometimes step one is the easiest way. The best plan is the easiest one.
Honestly, it's Occam's razors. Like, it's the most logical thing is usually what will
As
work.
the crow flies, straight rifle, straight to the fucking chest, call it a day.
It'll kill a lot of things.
Yeah.
Considering his enemy effectively dead, Kraven buried him alive. After this, Kraven donned a copy of Spider-Man's costume and set out to prove that he was superior at his enemy's activities. So Kraven began to brutally attack and beat up criminals, culminating in 15 men in the hospital and 1 being killed. Then, like, public opinion turns against... They're like, oh, Spider-Man's gone insane. He's just fucking killing people now.
Yeah.
J. Jonah Jameson's like, he's a menace. I've been telling you for so long.
I've been saying it for years.
Mary Jane, by the way, fully knows, like, gets one look and is like, oh, that's not Peter. Peter wouldn't do that. Like,
yeah, well, that's like very good for her character as well, to be like, I'm not a fucking idiot.
Exactly. So Kraven single-handedly captured a minor supervillain named Vermin, got like rat's powers and stuff like that, who Spider-Man at once needed the help of Captain America to defeat. So Kraven is like, oh, this proves it. I'm way better at being Spider-Man than actual Spider-Man. After this triumph, Spider-Man recovered because he was actually shot with a tranquilizer dart by Kraven. He never intended to kill him. So he wakes up from this tranquilizer and digs his way out of his own grave. Very famous comic panel.
I was about to say, that's the panel you want. You want that hand popping out.
And it's the ultimate, like, Spider-Man never gives up moment.
Yeah, dead right.
Kraven greeted him at the grave and explained that he had made his point because he had defeated his enemy. He was like, I've defeated you. I'm better than you. That's all he wants.
Tranquilized him and put him in the ground.
But he's like, I cleaned up crime way more efficiently than you did.
Oh, okay. He's hitting him with the Daredevil and what am I thinking of? Punisher.
Yeah.
Logic.
Yeah, exactly. He then released Vermin and told Spider-Man, hey, you catch him. I'm just letting him go. I don't care about this. I've won. Convinced that he had won, the deranged Kraven left a note for the police confessing that he impersonated Spider-Man and subsequently took his own life. Again, another very, very famous comic panel of Kraven.
So it's literally like he won and then he's like, fuck you, I'm out.
Yeah, I'm going out on top is what he's doing.
Fucking hell. Because he'd lost so many times and he's like, this is a plan that 50% of it I will be on top and I'm not going to be around for when it turns.
Exactly, yeah. I'm never going to be beaten after this. Takes his own life. Years then go by in comics. Kraven stays dead for a very long time in comics.
Right, okay, like, as in like 15, 20 years.
Yeah. And then years later, Kraven's family is introduced, headed up by his wife, Sasha. And they began doing the same thing that Bane did to Batman in Nightfall. They began letting more and more of Spider-Man's villains out of prison to weaken him down, while also hunting down other Spider-themed people, including Madam Web and Mattie Franklin, who was Spider-Girl at the time. Because they have a plan to resurrect Kraven, and then they'll be the Kravenoff family, and they'll get all their glory back. Because at the minute, they're like, they don't have their nobility, they don't have anything, they don't have Kraven, who is the best hunter.
Yeah. Okay.
So they then catch Spider-Man at a trap in the New York cemetery where Kraven had been buried. However, his Spider-Man's clone, Kane Parker...
Are we going to have to discuss the clones?
There's a bunch of clones of Spider-Man made at one point. One was Ben Reilly, one is Kane Parker. Ben Reilly is a tortured badass. Kane is an evil badass.
It was a story in the early 2000s. Don't ask any questions. It was a weird one that nobody liked, but in the end, we were just kind of stuck with a big bag of clothes.
Exactly. So Kane managed to take Peter off the table, steal his costume, and impersonate him to confront the Kravenoffs on his behalf. So Kane, fully willing to kill, by the way, is like, I'm just going to fucking take down the Kravenoffs myself.
Kane, by the way, has the thing where he sticks, you know the way Batman or Spider-Man sticks to walls?
Yeah.
He's got Spider-Man powers, so he puts his hand on people's faces and then he sticks his fingers to them and then he rips the hand away, ripping their face off.
Yeah, it's the mark of Kane. It's absolutely fucked.
It's really fucked up, but that's the clone saga.
So Kane was killed by the Kravenoffs in a ceremony, and his body was used in a ritual to bring Kraven back to life. Kraven was angry that he was brought back to life because he was
won.
Like, I did it. I was done.
Yeah, like he was out when they dragged them back in for one last job.
Yeah, and then the sentiment was exacerbated because he found out Kane had taken Spider-Man's place, which corrupted the ritual. Meaning, Kraven cannot die unless it is by the hand of Spider-Man.
Is it any Spider-Man or Peter Parker Spider-Man?
Just Spider-Man. Kane tries and it doesn't work.
Right. Okay.
So only Peter Parker can kill Kraven. And Peter Parker will not kill anyone.
So, yeah, you know what? That's one of the most convoluted ways to get to a really fucking interesting character thing to create that in comic books, that like you have the villain who wants to die but can only be killed by the hero who just won't kill.
Exactly. Like and they're like just playing off each other, they're bouncing off each other forever, basically. After this, Kraven decides that he wants heirs created in his own image. He's kind of done with his family. It's like, you fucked everything.
Because like he was literally happy. Like he had done what he wanted.
He went out in his terms, on top.
Yeah, like maybe not in reality, but when in his brain, he was like, I won.
Exactly, yeah. So Kraven goes to the High Evolutionary and has him create 87 perfect clones designed to age into adulthood at an accelerated rate.
I don't know what the deal with clones was in Spider-Man comics around this time.
They figured out they could do it, and then they just kept fucking doing it.
Like everybody had to have a clone, so he just has 87 clones now.
Yeah, and this isn't that long ago. I think this is like 2016, 2017 maybe, that all this is happening. During his children's quick growth, Kraven trained and raised them, feeling love and pride for them. When they reached adulthood, Kraven sent his quote-unquote children on individual journeys of hunt to prove themselves worthy of his name. During this time, Kraven set out to rebuild his fortune and reclaim his territories. So he starts gathering money and power and assets. All the kids are out doing little weird hunting tasks to make them stronger.
Also, it's not lost to me that he could just become like the greatest villain of all time now. He can't be killed.
He's essentially immortal, yeah.
He's like immortal. He can do whatever the fuck he wants.
But he hasn't won anymore. He needs to win.
What's it all for? Like, you can live forever, but you'll never win.
Exactly. So when Kraven finished the preparations for the return of his children from their missions, he planned this big fancy gala. Like, he had a big feast laid out for all of the 87 clones to return to. He was surprised to receive only one of them. The last son of Kraven had hunted down his brethren to prove that only he was worthy of their father.
So one of his clones had hunted the other 86 clones and had killed them all?
Yes. Despite his shock for his children's death, Kraven was overjoyed with the fruit of his labour and recognised the survivor as his son.
And by the way, this other clone, it just looks the exact same as him.
Yeah, it's just Kraven.
It's just him. So he's like, I'm so proud of you, my son, who is just me.
Yeah. But like, think about it, that son has killed 86 Kraven the Hunters, basically.
Yeah.
Like, which is not an insignificant task.
Which then you get to the point of, what if he becomes too smart and he tries to kill the original Kraven.
Oh, he would never do that, would he?
He would never do that because he can't, because he's all Spider-Man.
So Kraven shared with him his discontent. Now, this one line is why they're making a movie. Kraven shared with him his discontent for the state of the jungle, raised by hunters and poachers, and made him part of his plan to fight them off. That's entirely why they're doing a Kraven the Hunter. So the movie's only
based off Aaron Hiller-Johnson in the jungle fighting hunters.
Pretty much, yeah.
But that just skips all of the whole point of how we got here.
Yeah, they're like, we don't know. Like, Kraven, that's a weird, like, noble task for such a bad dude to have. Is why that's an interesting character. It's kind of like
Poison Ivy, but like Poison Ivy I think is a lot more sympathetic in that like she's trying to save the planet. When she's trying to save plants, she cares more about like the planet than she does about humans. And she's like, I'll kill humans, I don't give a fuck.
Exactly. Big picture, planet's more important, is where she's
at. So, but like, you wouldn't, I don't think you'd get away with doing like a full movie based off that. I still don't think you can get a full movie, because like he fights off some hunters. Is it just literally the hunters come back and like he's got to fight off these really serious hunters, and just it never mentions the fact that he's Kraven the Hunter or Spider-Man or a villain or anything?
Like he's just like it's Kraven and his son just fighting poachers for a little bit. But then Kraven has an idea, and this is where we get into a storyline called Kraven's Great Hunt.
Oh.
Because what he starts to do you remember we talked about Arcade? Basically, kind of like Marvel's Riddler, does a lot of traps and big, like, escape rooms, essentially, and just traps people in them. Kraven gets him on side, seals off Central Park, and turns it into a hunting ground, providing a cadre of wealthy would-be hunters the opportunity to hunt down animal-themed supervillains who had been kidnapped by Taskmaster and Black Ant. So he's capturing like the Lizard and Stegron and all this kind of stuff, letting them loose in Central Park and letting hunters hunt them for sport, essentially. Kraven rationalises this as being like he wants to make the criminals honour the souls of the animals whose identities they adopted by forcing them to survive being hunted.
Seems okay. I mean,
but a lot of these rich hunters would have gone poaching and shooting illegally in like Kraven's lands and stuff like that. So Arcade provided Kraven's benefactors an army of hunter bots, near indestructible androids modelled after Kraven and controlled remotely by a VR headset wired into their brain. Kraven also made it so that the hunters could not take off the VR headset, and any damage made to their units recoiled on their bodies to the point of risking death, in order to teach them the true dangers of the hunt.
So any damage they take is real?
You die in the game, you die for real.
Okay, right, yeah, fair enough.
Or if you lose an arm in the game, you lose an arm for real.
Which, I mean, if we're going to go with that, it's like, okay, well, if these villains chop your arm off, that is the true hunt.
Exactly, yeah. Like, that's a real hunting experience, not shooting an elephant from 50 feet away.
Who's, like, drinking some water.
Exactly, yeah. Kraven also forced one last person into the conflict. Spider-Man.
I was thinking he might come up. I was thinking, well, animal-based.
So in an attempt to harden him and push the wall crawler to finally kill him to free him from his curse, he traps him into Central Park, into this hunting game. As the hunt raged between the hunter bots and the villains, Kraven forced Spider-Man in a situation where he needed to help Kurt Connors let loose his alter ego of the Lizard to save Billy, who is Kurt Connors' son, from the clutches of Kraven's clone son.
Very good. Okay, so the Lizard is Kurt Connors. His son is named Billy.
Yes.
Kraven's clone has Billy as a hostage.
Yes. And he's trying to make Spider-Man convince Kurt Connors to turn into the Lizard.
Okay.
And to kill Kraven's son so that Billy can live.
Yes. Okay.
Spider-Man doesn't want to do that because he's friends with Kurt Connors. He doesn't want him to go into Mad Lizard.
Yeah, because once he turns into the Lizard, he can't turn back. Or there's a chance he might not turn back.
Exactly. There's a chance he'll eat his son, which he actually fucking does in one issue. It's weird.
It's a bold strategy.
But the other option is Spider-Man has to kill Kraven's son, therefore he'll kill. He's trying to put him into this unwinnable scenario.
Okay, right, cool.
However, Spider-Man beat up Kraven and made him watch a video feed of the lizard saving Billy without succumbing to his murderous instincts. So Kirk Connors transforms into the lizard but keeps his mind.
Oh, okay.
Also sparing the life of Kraven's son, proving that compassion showed true strength of character.
Right, okay.
This is the bit you're either going to like or dislike.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Coming to the realization that he was the kind of beast he had been seeking to kill all along, Kraven called off the Great Hunt, freeing his prisoners and letting Spider-Man go. Embracing Spider-Man's nobility and ideals, Kraven donned Spider-Man's costume and intercepted his son to die in battle against him. Since his death was deliberate, by his own hand, and he had become Spider-Man in spirit, the curse allowed Kraven to remain dead.
So hang on. So let me just try and think this through.
Yeah.
He says to Spider-Man, okay, I'm Spider-Man now because I believe in your ideals so much and I want to be Spider-Man, and
I'm going to die as Spider-Man.
I'm going to die as Spider-Man. And then Kraven's clone, who's also a murderous Kraven, you keep saying son, which puts me off, but it's definitely just a clone of him.
It's just a clone of him.
It's just as like, then the clone kills him.
Yeah, but our Kraven knows he's going to die going into this.
Well, he doesn't know, because the curse didn't say if you've got the spirit and you kind of feel like Spider-Man, then it won't kill you. It was Spider-Man has to kill you.
Spider-Man did. Kraven thought he was Spider-Man at the time.
No. I think what's happened is they realised they'd written themselves into a corner, and the story needed Kraven to die.
Connor, you're going to love the next bit, because Kraven was buried in his own estate wearing Spider-Man's costume.
It's just like a Halloween costume.
He left his son a note in which he expressed pride for him and bestowed on him his name and alias, becoming the new Kraven the Hunter.
Oh, for fuck's... So they got to have their cake and eat it too?
Yeah, they got rid of the old Kraven who couldn't die and got a brand new Kraven who's an exact clone of the original.
But doesn't have any emotional depth, just straight up killer.
Still a bad guy, yeah.
Right, okay. My question is this. In the coffin, if we take the Spider-Man suit off his dead body, does he, like, resurrect?
No, I think they're never touching that particular body again.
Okay, cool.
It's too messy.
Because you could definitely just take the suit off and then his eyes just wake up and he's just like, put the fucking mask back on. For God's sake.
So in terms of powers and abilities, because of the potion that he ingested, he has powers that put him, quote-unquote, on top of the food chain. They're even greater than those of Captain America. So he has superhuman strength, speed, stamina, durability, agility, reflexes, extended longevity. So even though he was in his 70s at the time of death, he had the vitality of a 30-year-old man. And he has peak human senses, and even beyond that sometimes. He's an expert marksman, tactician, weapon specialist, and combatant. On the Marvel 1-7 rating system, he's a 6 for fighting skills. So I think the only one above that is like Wolverine, I think, who's just mastered all combat. He's a master hunter and tracker, master animal tamer. He has medical knowledge, and he has minor occult knowledge because of all of his travels. So
Jesus.
Across the board, pretty fucking dangerous.
Really somebody that would like fuck up any other villain, but unfortunately he's in Spider-Man City.
Yeah, exactly. If he just moved to like San Francisco and started fighting Ant-Man, you're great.
He would kill Ant-Man 10 times out of 10.
Dude, if he decided just to kill Hawkeye one day, he could.
Like any of the Avengers, really, other than maybe Thor and like Hulk. I think even Hulk, well, no, he wouldn't be able to kill Bruce Banner, but he could shoot him from a far distance away.
Yeah, he has hunted Hulk before. And he was, but like, it was more of a, I'm just going to hunt you to see if I can hunt you kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Because you're the Hulk, you're the biggest target there is.
He could shoot Bruce Banner like 50 times, but Hulk is then just going to like pop out.
Hulk will appear, yeah. But like, he's like, it's wild that they're doing that weird protagonist solo movie for him, because he is like, he's a threat to anyone else except Spider-Man.
So I think it's going to be just like a villain that's like, Welcome to the Jungle. Do you remember that movie with The Rock? From like, where he's like just in the jungle and then there's big bads and he's just like got to protect the little village that's nearby.
Basically that, yeah. It'll be like he's a bad guy, but then he finds people he cares somewhat about, and then he does some good towards the end.
Yeah, and then at the end we'll have some sort of cameo by Tom Hardy.
Probably, yeah. It's probably going to be Tom. It's not going to be Jack.
We're assembling a team.
Yeah, me and Morbius. Got something to do with Spider-Man, I think.
Me and Jared Leto are assembling a team.
And Michael Keaton is still not there.
He's only there in after credits where we can get him in to just kind of do 5-second clips. Other than that, he's not around.
Other than that, we can't afford him.
Yeah.
But that is it's Sean's last report on Kraven the Hunter.
The last report ever on Kraven. We will never do Kraven again. A character
son
that
of
is
Kraven.
I think a character that is like super cool, super like, I think a really good character psychologically to delve into, of just like once he comes back to life. Weirdly, he's more interesting after he thinks he's won and has come back to life and is like, there's nothing to live for, but I can't die.
Terrible fate to be handed to you.
The problem is, to get to that point is so convoluted that I don't know how you would ever do that in a movie form.
I know, but I just love that he comes back and he's angry about it.
Yeah, of course. But if you liked what you heard, we've done hundreds of these on DC and Marvel characters, covering lots and lots of different characters. If you have any favourites, I'm sure they're there somewhere. If they're not there, just message us in on Instagram or Facebook or on Twitter or any of the socials. Just message in and we'll add it to the list. So people are always sending their ideas, so we'd like to always throw them onto the list and keep adding on. But yeah, I mean, you can do all the usual stuff of following on all the things. We just need you to tell one human being that we exist.
Just the one, please.
And most importantly, just be nice.
Be nice to each other.
Just be nice. So I've been Conor Lawler.
I've been Shaun Meehan.
And we shall see you all next week, guys.
Bye.
Bye.